Yeah, there's also something else that both of us that we finished, but then episode 100 kind of happened, and it's kind of already passed, so we won't spend too much time on it. But we haven't had time to talk about it yet, so I kind of want to get your thoughts on the limited or the first season of Obi Wan Kenobi. What did you think about this season as a whole?
I guess as a whole, I will say that it is good,
Hmm.
but it is not great, which
Yeah,
is unfortunate because I think everybody was really hoping that this would be the Disney Plus show that takes over how good The Mandalorian is, because The Mandalorian is so far the
yeah,
best Disney Plus show on the platform. And that's with all the Disney Plus originals and also Marvel, or I guess I should say Star Wars originals and Marvel originals combined, that so far The Mandalorian, the one that's the most successful, and basically the original.
but have you seen High School Musical, the musical, the series yet?
No, I have not seen High School Musical, the musical, the series yet, unfortunately, and I guess I can't.
Surprisingly enough, I have.
Oh, okay. And would you say it is better than The Mandalorian?
No.
Then my point is still valid. The fact
is,
that
yeah.
Mandalorian is still the best Disney Plus show.
Just trying to expand your horizon, Lachlan.
You expanded shit because I'm still not going to watch it. High School
Fair
Musical, the musical, the show,
The series.
the series, the musical.
Series.
Sorry, High School Musical, the musical, the show, the series. The
Almost.
I wanted three things out of it. I wanted three things out of this series, and I think a lot of people wanted the same thing.
Hmm.
I wanted to see a powerful Darth Vader,
Yeah,
and they do that.
they do.
I wanted to see sick lightsaber battles, and you know what? They deliver that. There is
Yeah.
very good lightsaber battles in this show. Some might say one of the best on screen in comparison. Not the best, but one of the best on screen. And I think the third thing is that I wanted to see a Obi Wan Kenobi that was, the Obi Wan Kenobi, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing that's missing, Obi Wan Kenobi, because this show is obviously taking part, and it's something that I've come to actually not mind. We've met Obi Wan in a situation where he has cut himself off from the Force, and he's not the Obi Wan Kenobi that we know and love. He is basically an old cynical man who doesn't want anything to do with the Force anymore, but has to protect this boy. And he's not going to do that with any of his Jedi mind tricks or Jedi laser swords. He is going to just protect him by cutting himself off and hiding. For me, that sucked. But for me, the one other thing that flaws this film is the writing. I want all the writers of this show to be shot in the head and then stabbed with a laser sword.
Jesus Christ.
And the reason I'm saying shot in the head is because apparently a stab with a laser sword doesn't kill you instantly now, because there are two Inquisitors that fucking survived. There's an issue with, I guess, the continuity of what a lightsaber can do in terms of damage, because if two Inquisitors survive a laser to the chest,
Crazy.
how is Qui-Gon Jinn dead?
Right.
Someone tell me that.
Maybe he's not.
So, for me,
Yeah.
the foundation of this show, the writing, is the biggest issue. And it's the same thing that's wrong with Hawkeye, Falcon Winter Soldier, Book of Boba Fett. The first 4 episodes of the 6 are slow as fuck and don't do anything. And then the last 2 to 3 episodes end up being the only exciting parts of the show. And for me, that is not what a TV show should be. There should be a mini arc between the first episode to the middle of the series, the mid-season finale, essentially, and then there should be another smaller arc between the mid-season and the finale, and there's obviously the massive arc that goes from episode 1 to episode 10, and obviously the ones in between that. That is good writing. For the past, I don't know how long Disney Plus has been out for, but probably 2 years, and everything besides The Mandalorian, even Book of Boba Fett is known for basically doing, here's the first 3 episodes of Book of Boba Fett, and here's Mandalorian now sprinkled into it. And the same with Hawkeye. Hawkeye's like, we're setting this all stuff up, and then the setup is now these last 2 episodes. It's just the initial part of this show is too boring to get into, and that's unfortunate, because the best parts of this show are at the end, and it's literally Darth Vader going psycho, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan dueling it. I hate Leia. That's
I wasn't a fan. Yeah, no, I would definitely tag on to that. I think that it also becomes a circle jerk that's just kind of going all around and around of references towards the end that just are like post credit scenes in the series, which feel really weird. And then I think the only solid thing, which I guess was the thing that we wanted out of the show, apart from I guess maybe a bit of like character moments from Obi-Wan, was that standoff between Anakin and finally like becoming Vader also in the eyes of Obi-Wan. And I think that moment is the best in the series, and it's like one of
100%.
the best also in Star Wars. I think it's a really sick moment in an otherwise very lackluster show. Like that's visually lackluster. Apart from a few standout moments, I think you can kind of cut some slack to Star Wars for having like cheesy bad writing because they always kind of had that. But it's no
Always had that,
excuse
yeah.
if it's just bad writing in like the pacing. But in the dialogue, I can kind of forgive it because it's a blockbuster, it's silly, whatever. But you are right. All of the shows, including the MCU shows, have had the problem of yeah, kind of a slow setup and then
It's a
just a
pacing
rushed
issue.
conclusion. Yeah, they've all had a bit of pacing issues, which I kind of want to end this off because it would be a perfect segue into For Love and Thunder, but we can't directly talk about the pacing, but we'll keep it in the back of our minds. But just quickly to tie in our discussion about Obi-Wan, you always like were kind of in favor of a season 2 while you were watching the show. Are you still?
Yeah.
Would you still be keen for a second season of the show?
I would, as long as they give me the ability to write the fucking thing. No,
Just
look,
Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in a cave, and it's just
That's
them
all I want.
talking. It's
Just them talking.
It's the Star Wars version of the Lighthouse. Imagine.
you basically, yeah.
Yeah. Darth Maul is the mermaid.
The reason I would like a season 2 is that I currently, because of Obi-Wan, I got into watching the Clone Wars series, and I'm started watching that, and there's some awesome media in that between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and that's adding so much more. The reason I guess I dislike the first part of this season is that they're trying to reintroduce these characters that everyone who's watching this show already knows, and everyone knows the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and they're trying to reset this up. They don't necessarily need to do that. They can cut out all of Luke and Leia. Like, have Luke in it, because obviously that's why he's on Tatooine.
Yeah.
And then leave. And then let it be a chase between Darth and Obi-Wan. That's all I was wanting, right? That's all that needed to be done, because they could have told the same story, but with way more emotion. Because, as you said, the best part about this entire season is the emotional impact right at the end, where it's the fight, where in Obi-Wan Kenobi's eyes, Anakin is no longer Anakin, it is Darth.
But Lachlan, we need the backstory why Uncle Owen is limping.
We need the backstory. Shut up, Kevin Feige. We don't need the backstory. Here's what we need to do. Oh, sorry, Kevin Feige doesn't do Star Wars. Who is it? Kathleen Kennedy. That's her name.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy. We don't need your fucking backstory for Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. So here's what's going to happen in season 2, okay? Here's what's happening in season 2.
Give me a pitch.
We open back up on Palpatine and Darth. And Darth is obviously like, he means nothing to me anymore. And then switches off his transmitter. And then what he does is he gets into a ship, turns off the location beacon, and then flies. And he hunts down Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan is then informed by an insider saying, hey, look, Darth Vader has gone missing. So now that Obi-Wan is connected back with the Force, and, Darth Vader is connected with the Force, he knows where he is. So Obi-Wan must use his tricks to essentially outsmart Darth Vader's hunt and once again put him down in his place. But again, halfway through the season, he's caught. There's a massive fight. Because come on, you can't tell me that scene where, Obi-Wan lifts up all those rocks, that Darth wasn't incredibly humiliated. So what Darth Vader does is he just uses the Force. He just destroys him with rocks and the Force, and doesn't even use his blade, because Darth is, again, a very strong Force wielder, and he is just going to try to humiliate Obi-Wan. And essentially, that's all you need to do. Season 2 is just them risking their lives to protect the rest of the universe, or at least try to destroy the rest of the universe like Darth's trying to do. and
Mhm.
just make it about them and make it about their relationship. That's all it needs to be. We don't need Princess Leia. We don't need
Yeah.
anyone else in this story. Like Uncle Owen, it's cool to have him come back, but it's not necessary for him to come back. So
Mhm.
look, you know what? Do whatever you want. But I want a season 2.
You want a season 2? I'm fine with this being a one-off thing. I think they kind of ticked all the boxes of what they initially wanted to do, and this was supposed to be a film before Han Solo. The Solo film kind of tanked, and I think they kind of got what they probably would have done something similar, you know. And I think no, were they planning to do a Obi-Wan trilogy, which actually would completely go against my point. I'm just gonna redact whatever I just said, and let's move on.
Wait, what are they
Uh,
doing?
no, I think initially before like Solo flopped, I think they were kind of in the beginning stages of maybe thinking about doing an Obi-Wan trilogy, whole trilogy
That'd be
dedicated to
dope.
his story. But
I'd
that,
pay
like
to see
that
that.
was done since
Okay.
2017, 18, and then they kind of moved on to,
Okay.
I guess, now do this. And I mean they could still continue the story in season 2. But let's wrap it up. I think overall, if you're a Star Wars fan, you've already seen it. If you're not, then it's really not something that you have to catch up on. If you're not that much into Star Wars.